talk about it. E. Jean
Mm-hmm.
Carroll. The E. Jean Carroll
Wilson.
case. Donald Trump lost the E. Jean Carroll, which is Carroll 1, which is the first case. He lost
Mm-hmm.
that case in the appellate court. That was the case that stipulated that he was, in fact, per the judge, a rapist,
Mm-hmm.
and that he absolutely did what she claimed he did. And she sued and won that case. And then there's so she was already paid out the $5 million. Then there's another case called Carroll 2, which covers a different period of time. Conduct what from one was when he was president, the other one was when he was a private citizen. And she won both of those cases, one for $89 million. That's sitting in a bond in New York. The $5 million he already paid her. But because of a process or a legal precedent called collateral estoppel, there can't be conflicting outcomes in a court. So in one court case, they can't say, well, he essayed her. And in another court say, well, he didn't. That's conflicting. So whichever one she won, which was the first one, is the one that stands. So he lost that case in which the judge stated that he committed essay. And by proxy, the $5 million, and he lost in federal court. They could find no issue with the case, nothing that required legal remedy. Republicans have stated that he didn't do this, et cetera, but he lost the case and continues to lose it. And the same thing is going on with the other case, which he continues to lose appeals in. So there's a lot of people, especially after the ABC lawsuit, that they're very confused about whether or not you can call or say that Donald Trump committed rape. And the answer to that is yes. Yes, Donald
Of
Trump did
course you
commit rape.
can.
What that court case had to do about ABC is number one, they're weak. Would they have won that case? Absolutely. But they're trying to buy favor with Donald Trump so that they can make the next person his enemy. And then inevitably everybody will pile on. That case did not revolve around whether or not Donald Trump sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll, the one with ABC. That one revolved around the verbiage used by George Stephanopoulos. And the verbiage that he used was technically incorrect, but mostly true. He said that the court found that E. Jean Carroll, or that Donald Trump had raped, found Donald Trump liable of raping E. Jean Carroll. That's what George Stephanopoulos said, and he repeated it a bunch of times on his show. That is not true. That is not far off. So what happened was, in the original court case, when they allowed E. Jean Carroll to sue, there were two things to sue for. One was rape, and that one required penile penetration. Then there was battery, which is what he was found liable of, for sexual assault. The judge in that case stated unequivocally that in the general sense of the term, Donald Trump raped E. Jean Carroll. The law stated differently. That law that made those two distinctions has since been fixed. So what Donald Trump did, if he was sued today and lost that same court case, would have been found liable of rape. George Stephanopoulos, in saying that he was found liable, is wrong. It's not that far off. The standard that would have been applied in defamation court is what's called actual malice. And basically, he has to prove that George Stephanopoulos either knew he was lying or acted recklessly. And materially, it has to be false. If there's inklings of truth in some things, to the degree that this is, right, it's very difficult to bring that case. And then he has to prove damages, right? He has to prove actual damages, which would have been really difficult to do. And for him, proving like emotional damage, like you weak,
My
would have been really
feelings.
difficult because it was ran across everywhere. So he sued. His lawyers would have lost. He would have lost the case. But that was what the categorical distinction was. So yes, you can absolutely say that. He could sue. I mean, he's going to lose. But a lot of confusion about that, and that was the distinction. But E. Jean Carroll won this case for $5 million. We've actually had Amber in here numerous different times. It's E. Jean Carroll's nurse, or sorry, niece. I'm
Niece.
thinking niece, E. Jean Carroll's niece, and Yeah, we've talked pretty extensively about the case. One of the things that I always bring up, because it's my favorite thing to do, is I love to ask people, what, why didn't Donald Trump turn over his DNA?
He didn't have to.
That's always a
That's usually
question.
the
You're
answer.
telling me it could have exonerated him? He didn't want to turn over exonerating evidence? Why is that? He didn't turn over his DNA. And then they'll point to, well, no, here's an article that says he did, except he did it after the deadline purposefully to try and save face. He offered to show his DNA after he fought it for 3 years. So that was the situation. But as it stands now, E. Jean Carroll has won the case. There's nothing that's reviewable. Donald Trump is just sad, strange little man, and E. Jean Carroll won.
Mm-hmm.
So we get some good news today.
It's true.
Yeah, we get some good news today. So
Yes.
I'll hey, listen, I'll take it if we can get it. But I thought I would make that a little bit more clear for people because people are pretty, people are pretty. What is it?
In the
People are
dark.
pretty. Yeah, they don't really understand the law to that degree, um, and so that I hope clarifies it a little bit. If there's any questions in the comments, I'll answer them. But like that's the crux of the case.